there, everybody. Hi, how are you doing today? How is your day going? Where are you in the world? Where are you joining us from? Hi, I am Andrew Hawkrattle. I am your host and guide and partner for the next 2 weeks as we do these daily creative challenges. I am here in Southern California. If you want to follow along, you can do so over here on the social medias, here on Behance, pretty much anywhere. It's just hawk.co. And you can tune in on Behance. I'll be going live tonight to review some of your challenge submissions. So it's great to see some familiar faces here in the chat. We've got friends in Canada, all kinds. Oh, Iceland. How fun. Iceland. That's super great. Well, it's great to see you all here. And if you're new, I'm going to kind of get you up to speed on what you need to know, and then we're going to jump into having some fun. So the thing that you are tuned into right now, that's right, it's the Daily Creative Challenge. And if you're just tuning in, here's how you can get involved and participate with us. You can go right here to behance.net/challenge/illustrator. Our Sheriff Wade will drop that link for you. And here you can click this button to take the challenge. And when you take the challenge, it will remind you every day in the Creative Cloud app with a little ding on the bell, and you'll be able to get involved every day. There also is a source file for you. Today we will be using the source file. There is some leather texture in there that we are going to be making things on, which is going to be very, very fun. So let's show one more thing. At the end of our challenges, you can put them all together and you can post on Behance using hashtag AI Daily Challenge, or if you want to post them as you go, you can post using that hashtag, and it may be featured here in the Best of Behance Creative Challenge Gallery. So really cool opportunity there. Now, there is one more way that you can get involved and be a part of this amazing community, and that is our Discord. That's right. Wade is going to drop that link for you right here, but it's floating above my head, bit.ly/AI Discord. It is the place to be where we are all hanging out and having fun. Let's hop over and see what people are doing in Discord. Nice. There was some type that's happening. Yesterday we played around. It wasn't a challenge. It was challenge 0 just for us to get warmed up and started doing some serif type, some slab serif, and even maybe some sans serif stuff. So y'all did an amazing job with that. Had so much fun teaching you there. So today is going to be a little bit interesting because we're going to do some real world examples to then translate into Adobe Illustrator. Today we are going to be working with glows and working in Illustrator to make something that looks like it's kind of burned into leather. And so I want to show you some real world examples so we can understand the concept of what we're doing in Illustrator. A lot of times we'll show you tips and tricks and it's just a cool thing to do, but I really want to understand how we can translate real world into Adobe Illustrator. So super fun. And with that, you know that we got to have a theme. If you are new here and this is your first time tuning in, I love to have fun when we do these challenges. So we do a little bit of entertainment and a little bit of education. So our challenge theme for the next 2 weeks, that's right, we're debuting it, is a Western theme. And I will see you all in the train in about 30 seconds. Right, we're back and we are here, we're in the saloon, and today we're going to be working with some burning effects. There's a lot of outer glows and inner glows that go into that, but I want to show you what we're trying to do. And yes, how cheesy, that's welcome to the streams with me. I want to show you something that is called a type sort. So a type sort is an individual piece of metal. It looks like this. Let's see if we can get that to focus right there. So it looks like this. It's an individual piece of metal, and that's what they would use to stamp things into leather, or even to print with. So let's go ahead and see at the front here, you can see that there are letters, right? Pressed into there, just tiny little letters. And what we're going to do today is we're going to simulate digitally in Illustrator what these letters would look like if we were to burn them into something. And yes, it is my font calamity that we are seeing there. So to demonstrate this, what I want to do is show the real world application, and that's right. We're going to do it. So let's bring the mic over here. And as you can see, we have our little type sort here. And just as if we were going to burn something into leather, we're going to see what this effect looks like. And sometimes you can Google these references for images. And so we're going to push this into the leather right here. And as you can see, as I bring this up to the camera a little bit closer, there we go. You can see that it's pushed that letter in. And what we're going to do today is we're going to look at maybe the shadows that are happening there, the highlights that are happening there, and then even some of the burn that's happening there. And we're going to try to recreate that in Adobe Illustrator. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop over into the program that we are all here for, that we want to be working in. Let's go ahead and boop, hop on over. So this is our daily creative challenge for today. This is your source file. If you don't have it, you can go to behance.net/challenge/illustrator to get that. And so easy on the coffee there, partner. Oh, you guys have no idea. So let's go ahead and jump in here. What we're going to do is we are going to use some basic shapes and even some type, and then play with layering effects to create a burned look, right? It's very often that when you're starting on Illustrator, we'll do one or two effects, but we're going to layer them and stack them on top of each other and see what we can make happen. So let's go ahead and read the challenge and get started. Create a stamp or logo mark with a burnt branding iron motif using simple shapes and glowing effects. So let's hop in here. Very, very easy is we are going to use simple shapes to make maybe like a steer head. And when I think about that, I just want to go over and grab an ellipse, which is L or just a circle. And we're going to click and drag. And clicking and dragging is going to make that oval for us. And when I think about kind of the head of a steer, if I'm simplifying it, we want to maybe round out and point the bottom of this. So I'm simply going to use the pen tool and hover over one of these anchor points. And now these anchor points are the kind of coordinates or places on a map for where you can place your images. And so what I want to do is take the top point away. So we have this kind of rounded part of the steer head. And at the bottom, I'm going to click, and I'm just going to make this a point. So with that, I can grab the direct selection tool, and I can grab and click this and drag down holding Shift. And there we go. It's popped up right there. So this looks a little more like a steer head. I'm going to round these out using the points, using the handles. We can click and drag those down. All right, let's squish it just a little bit. So I'm also going to add some horns. I feel like, of course, that it needs some horns. So we're going to go ahead and grab the ellipse tool again. And you can see over in the corner, those are the hotkeys that I'm using. So if you need something or I hit a key and you're like, what to do? The hotkey's down there. So what we're going to do is we're going to make some horns, but we're actually going to make these using two ovals. And we're going to click and drag. And when I look at these, I'm going to start thinking about where they overlap. So I'm holding Alt or Option, and you can see that the overlap is all going to get taken away. So I just want this point over here. And what I'm going to do with those two shapes is I'll select both of them, come over to the Pathfinder tool, and hit Subtract. So that's going to punch the top out of the bottom. And from here, I can just use the eraser tool because we're going to keep it super loosey-goosey. And we are just going to erase straight through there, and then use the direct selection tool to delete that. And how did I change to points? Simply clicking on the shape and then hitting A is going to change it over to being the anchor points. So now I have my horns. Let's put these in here. I'm going to use R to rotate them a little bit and S to scale them up. There we go. And then I'm going to make another one for the other side. So I'm going to right click, transform, and reflect. We'll hit copy here, and that will make a copy of that for us. Cool. So I'm just clicking and dragging and holding Shift, and now we have this awesome kind of bull head with the horns. We're going to use the Pathfinder to bring this all together by using Join with all of those shapes selected. There we go. We'll use the alignment tools up here to just align this to the center of our artboard. And now I'm going to shrink it down using S a little bit. Cool. So now we have a black image. Now, the problem with this is, right, what we had was not a full black image. If you can see, it is interacting with what's happening there on the actual background. That it's starting to change, it's burning, it's adding shadows. And so what we have on the screen right now is not necessarily the best representation. So let's go ahead and play around with some effects and see if we can achieve that. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to start working with glows. And glows are a super powerful tool to be able to make kind of gradients and make things a little softer, but still interact with the background. So here's the secret that I'm going to tell you right away, is that I like to make the shape white. So when I'm working with glows, I'll make the shape white because we're going to use a blending mode called multiply, which will actually take all the white away. And so that way I can kind of play around with what I want the burn to be without having to worry about the actual shape. So let's start out and let's grab our shape and go to Effect, and we'll go to Stylize. And from here, we're going to go to Inner Glow. There we go, Inner Glow. We're going to go to Inner Glow. And what this is going to do is this is going to allow us to get a little bit of that depth, right? When we burnt into that leather, it pushed it down, created a little bit of darkness in there. And that's really what we want here. So once you're in the Inner Glow panel, there are actually two options. You can go from the center or from the edge. So the edge, if you're thinking about it, it is just glowing in, right? So as if it was a lamp, but the lamp is around the outside of the shape. That's in edge. So if we do center, it's going to go from the center. So it will go center outward into whatever the background color is. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to do the edge first. So we're going to do edge, and we're going to change the blending mode to multiply. And we'll see where that comes in just a second. You can pick any kind of color. I like kind of having this nice little brown here. It's like a little brown orange. And we're going to hit OK. So you can see it's starting to interact a little bit. It's got that nice interaction. And at this point, this is when I like to take whatever the shape is that I have. And again, it's in white. And so I'm going to change the blending mode to multiply so we can see how it interacts with the background. So we'll come over here into our transparency panel, and we will click and go to multiply. There we go. And that's going to multiply it down, and boom, we're done. We could be done here. I mean, it looks like it is indented, but there are some other things that we could make better, I think. So let's go ahead and keep adding effects onto this. So right now, if we go to the effects panel, which is over here under my head, let me move it up here. There we go. So here in the effects panel, you can see that we have the inner glow that is on top of what this shape is. So I want to add another inner glow, but instead of going from the edge, let's get a little bit of burnt area from the middle. So all you need to do is you can go to Effect, you can go to Stylize, and add another inner glow. So we're going to inner glow, and from here, actually, it's editing this one. Let's go over here. So here we can hit plus, and what that's going to do is it's going to add another effect on top. So hit plus, and now you can see we have two inner glows here. And let's go ahead and take this top one and just click on that name. So the effects panel is where we start to stack these effects and start to see how they interact with each other as they continue to build with new effects. So instead of going from the edge here, we're going to go from the center this time. And we'll be able to see, why is my preview not coming on? See, this is what happens. Oh, you have to have the shape selected. So you have to have the shape selected. Hey, Mark Voden. And so with the shape selected, it already has the one inner glow. We're going to go ahead and click, and it's going to add another inner glow. And you know that it is on multiply because it gets darker when another one goes on top. So we are going to change this one to go from the center. And now you can see it's the same color, but we're going to change this color to a little bit of a lighter, maybe something like this. And now I can see the difference that's happening, right? It's starting out with that softer color and then merging to that darker color on the outside because it is stacking on top of each other. We can change the amount. So if I take this down to 10, it's going to give us more of that edge. If we take it up, it's going to give us less of that edge, right? And start to kind of push out. So I want to go somewhere between there so we have a little bit of interaction, but not quite as much as we have. So let's go to 40. Looks good. So we can see that it is indeed has the inner glow that's darker, but then it also has an inner glow that's coming from the center and glowing out so that it interacts and makes a little bit lighter there. So that's starting to look a little bit more like it's burned into the shape, right? And so again, this is technically on white, but it is multiplied down, and multiply allows us to interact with the background. So let's add a couple more effects here and see what we can get. Let's do one that has a little bit of that smoky glow, right? When, yeah, yes, when yeehawk, oh, I just got it, Mark. That's fantastic. Thank you. When we burned that thing into the leather, it left like a little bit of burn mark on the outside, right? And we want to play around with that as well. So we don't have to do any extra stuff. We can literally still use this one shape, and we're going to click again on this little the plus sign. Actually, let's do this. Let's click on effects right here over by the plus sign. And this is another way to add effects that isn't through a menu, isn't through the plus sign, just another option for you. And we're going to go to stylize, and we're going to do outer glow. And you can see already the outer glow is the same thing as the inner glow. It's going to take the shape and then add a glow of whatever we want. So it looks like that glows a little bit too much for me. So I'm going to bring it down to about 10. There we go. And to make sure that it has that nice crisp burnt edge, I'm actually going to make it pretty dark. And the opacity you can change between 100, 1, 10, whatever you want. And we're going to do the blur. Actually, I'm going to do this less. I'm going to do just 5. And from there, we can change it to multiply if we want. And I'll do a brown as well. And so we can see that that edge is going to just blur out quite a bit. So we hit OK. And now I'll zoom in without this selected. And you can see that it's interacting with the background on the outside. The inside of the shape has that nice crisp burn, and then it's glowing from the middle where it was red hot and pushed into the leather, but engaging with what that edge would be, right? The edge is going to get a little bit crispier than what the inside would be. So now we have a nice little brand that's burned into this background, but I want to give it a little more sizzle, right? I want to make it like a little more sizzly. So what we can do is I'm actually going to come in here, and now that we have the shape and a lot of these effects added, if I want to, I can grab the direct selection tool just using A, and we can click on this point at the bottom, and maybe I want to round it out a little bit so it's a little more like a cattle, right? Cattle don't necessarily have pointy faces, and so rounding it out a little bit, because these effects are stacked on top of a shape, they're actually going to stay consistent across the board. So every one of the shapes that I make with this effect stacked on top of it will just pick up those effects. So we're going to do one more effect here, and we are going to select our shape and go to Effect. We are going to go to Pixelate, and we are going to choose a mezzotint. One of my favorite words in Illustrator, mezzotint. So we're clicking on mezzotint, and what that's going to do is it's basically going to do tiny little points, tiny little, I don't know, like beep, beep, beep. That's the official term for them, beep, beep, beeps. And you can come in here and you can go from fine dots to medium dots to grainy dots, coarse dots. There's all kinds of options for you to play around with and try new things in this tool. And so we're going to go ahead and try medium dots and see what happens. So what this is going to do is it's going to stack on all the other effects we had, and instead of making it clean and crisp, it's going to give us that little gritty sizzle. So if we hit OK, there we go. So now we have, you can see this nice gritty kind of sizzle like it's been burned in. And if we want to, we can come in here, we can play around with reordering these. So we put mezzotint on top. It's probably not actually going to look good. Let's see what happens. Oh, it didn't change much. Cool, because everything's interacting. So we can come in here, we can actually click on these effects to edit them after the fact. So if we click on mezzotint, and maybe I want it to be fine dots, I can click on that, and it will update that on the shape. Oh, that's why. I didn't have the shape selected again. There we go. So mezzotint, you want to be on the bottom affecting the shape. It goes from top to bottom. So the mezzotint is affecting the shape first, then an outer glow, then an inner glow, and then another inner glow. So if something looks weird, look at the structure of your effects. Whatever is on the bottom is the thing that is affecting the object first. So let's change this one more time. From medium dots, let's do fine dots and hit OK. And now you can see we got that nice crisp kind of dot. And if you want to, maybe we burned it in with something like wood. You can change it to lines like this, and it's going to create all kinds of different effects, right? Maybe it's burned into wood. Mezzotint is a super powerful tool to kind of cycle through these and see what options you can make, what you can make it look like. There are strokes, so it makes it more of a wood texture. We'll do grainy, why not? and make it look just like that. So this is a really cool tool, and for your little extra credit, we got about 5 minutes here. So I'm going to show you something for you to challenge yourself to step up to the next level. And what that is because this is a simple shape with a bunch of effects just added on top of it, we can actually make this a graphic style and apply it to all kinds of things. So check this out. What we can do is we're going to come over here to this panel right here, our graphic styles panel. You also can go to window graphic styles, and we're going to hit plus. Well, oh, it's floating behind me. There we go. We're going to hit plus on the shape. So we're going to hit plus. And now you can see it added this extra little piece right here. And what that means is all the effects that we have applied to that shape now are saved and able to be applied to another shape. So if we move this guy over here, bye, and I just want to do my name. So let's do my name and blow it up here. And literally this is live type. I'm simply going to click on this graphic style that we just did. And now that graphic style is applied to these letters. Very quickly, we can change this. If I want to say hello, it is updating live with that style. It is turning it white, it's multiplying it, adding the mezzotints, adding the inner and outer glows, and you can make whatever you want and scale this very quickly by using those graphic styles. And yes, it does apply to live text, which is really cool. So you can change things out if you're working on creating a monogram or something like that. You can simply apply it to as many shapes as you want. I was doing this earlier, and again, same thing. Just grabbed it, tossed the graphic style on there, and I was good to go. So I want you guys to go and download this. Of course, you need to go to behance.net/challenge/illustrator. And here you can download the source file of that nice little leather for you to play around with your shapes to create something that is a monogram, that's a brand, that you're branding into that leather just like we did with those type sorts. So love the cowboy hat, Andrew. Yes, thank you. Oh, mezzotint. Thank you. I very much have guessed at that my entire career. So mezzotint, thank you. That's great. Now I know. And quick recap, please. You got it. So behance.net/illustrator is going to be where you get your source file. That source file over here is going to look like this. It is going to be a piece of leather with no background. From there, all we did today is we used the Pathfinder to create a shape and used the direct selection tool and the pen tool to round out the edge using the direct selection tool, rounding out the bottom there, and then creating this steer head. From the steer head, we started to go into effects, stylize, and inner glow. We also started to work with our effects panel over here, and we stacked those effects on top of each other. We did a mezzotint, which is affecting the shape, and then outer and inner glows, and just stacked those on top of each other. We put it underneath the leather effect, and we changed the blending mode in the transparency panel to multiply. This allowed us to make it look like the shape was interacting with the leather. So there is opportunity if you want to go back to watch these challenges every day if you missed it. And you can rewatch them right here at behance.net/challenge/illustrator, where you get your source file. Click on that button, watch video, and that will recap, and you'll get to hang out with me. And after you are all done, you know what to do. Once you've tackled your challenge, you've burned something into leather, go to bit.ly/AI Discord. My cowboy hat's in the way. Bit.ly/AI Discord. And there you can let me see what you are making with these effects that we have created today. So let's hop over into Discord. This is what it will look like. And we will be going live tonight around 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So depending on where you are in the world, it could be a little late, but we'll be going live then. I'll be reviewing your challenges, so it gives you a bit of time to work on those challenges and get started. You can follow on Behance right over here, behance.net/hawk.co, and I will be going live tonight to give you guys the reviews on what you are creating. So super fun, super excited to take this journey. We will be continuing every single day here at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, doing all of the different daily creative challenges. And yes, if you are going to miss my live stream, it will live on my Behance, so you can follow along there and then catch up. I will tag you in Discord as well if we do a review of your project. So I'm excited. It's going to be a fun time. Let's take a look at the schedule of what's coming up next. So up next is one of my favorite people. We just became kind of connected, and I think that he's just the greatest. Our friend Cody Brown is going to be here doing a mobile design. Yesterday it was an awesome session, so make sure you stick around for that. I'd love for you guys to drop some phone emojis in chat when they get started in about 5 minutes. Give them some phone emojis and let them know that you're coming from the Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge. Then, continuing on the day, we have Andrea Epi doing the XD Challenge. It's basically this in a different program. So if you want to level up your XD Challenge, you can go there. And at the end of the day, you get to hang out with me. We're having a watch party. It is a Design in the Dark creative replay with our friends at Hutzpah Design. We love the Hood sisters. They're absolutely amazing. And we did a challenge called Design in the Dark, where they created a brand based on a creative brief. So it's a replay of that, and we're going to hang out, have a little watch party. So join us at that at 2:30. And I'm so excited for this week. I will see you all on the trail at our next Daily Creative Challenge tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Bye.